I want to update you now on a young Iraqi boy. He is a casualty not of war but of peace, or what passed for peace, in the period between the Gulf War and this year's war on Iraq. He was horribly wounded during a missile strike in Iraq 4 years ago. Thelma Gutierrez caught up with him and his mother in Los Angeles.
His was one of the faces adopted by the anti-war movement. An 8-year-old Iraqi boy with a big smile, injured by an errant U.S. missile. His name is Mustafa. His life would change forever with this picture, taken by an American photographer, later discovered by peace activists.
I decided that I wanted to make a poster. I wanted to put a human face to what is called collateral damage.
Mustafa's story began in 1999 when a U.S. missile mistakenly struck Basra, killing 6. Mustafa was one of 15 wounded. Shrapnel scattered through his body. 4 years later, Mustafa still needed medical care he couldn't get in Iraq. For Bert Sykes, Cole Miller, and others in Los Angeles, it became a mission to bring him to the U.S. After 5 months of intensive work, Mustafa and his mother land in Los Angeles. This is where we met up with her.
The first time, indeed, I came to talk to any American person.
You were mad?
Then, yes. But then, by the way, I meet with very good American people.
It didn't take long for Mustafa to warm to his temporary home while waiting for surgery to remove the shrapnel from his body and a prosthesis for his hand.
He asked me, Mama, why you didn't bring me 2 fingers? Can you put 2 fingers on my hand? I told him, no, it's not important to have 2. You have 3 and you can write and you can eat, you can do anything with them.
Let me examine him and...
Yeah.
A team of U.S. doctors like Hussein Eldarsani volunteer to help. Dr. Eldarsani points out the many scars on Mustafa's body, the result of shrapnel entry wounds, and a long incision from having part of his liver removed. His mother hopes x-rays of his body will show why Mustafa feels pain.
What is it that we're looking at when we see all of these tiny white spots?
Those are micro or small shrapnels scattered in both thighs.
Through his pelvis, shoulders, and skull.
Is this shrapnel that can actually be removed?
They're very hard to remove. They're too small.
For now, Mustafa may have the shrapnel from his shoulders and hip removed, but doctors can do little more but make plans for his prosthesis. His mother is grateful her son's injuries are not life-threatening, but she takes pains to remind us there are many more children in Iraq who desperately need help. Thelma Gutierrez, CNN, Los Angeles.
And that wraps up the first hour of Live from the Headlines. Coming up next, is the gunfight over, and did the NRA win?
Any new developments? Leslie.
Thanks, David. As efforts get underway to help war victims, an 8-year-old Iraqi boy is already here in Southern California, awaiting medical treatment. But this youngster's story began long before Operation Iraqi Freedom. Eyewitness News reporter Carlos Granda is live in the newsroom with details. Carlos.
Well, Leslie, when you first see this young boy, he looks fine and healthy, but his body is full of shrapnel, dozens of pieces of metal from a U.S. missile that accidentally fell in his neighborhood. Now, he's not a victim of the current war in Iraq. This happened 4 years ago, but he's just made it to the U.S. to get medical treatment.
Mustafa looks like any 8-year-old boy, riding his bike and full of energy. But at his young age, he has already seen the horrors of war. He has 30 pieces of shrapnel in his body from a U.S. missile.
Then the glasses of the windows and dishes, all of them dropped and broken.
His mother can't forget the day it happened. January 25th, 1999. Mustafa and his brother Haider were playing outside their home in Basra when the missile exploded nearby. She found Mustafa injured but alive. Then she found his brother.
Then I found him lying on the floor, and dust and pieces of food and iron covered him, and a circle of blood under his head. I touched him, tried to carry him, and talk to him. I cried. He never answered me.
Haider died. His brother Mustafa barely survived. He lost 2 fingers on his left hand, and doctors say the shrapnel is dangerously close to his spine. He was brought to the U.S. to get medical treatment by an organization called No More Victims.
My intent in starting the organization was to show the human face of collateral damage in the hope that the American people would pay attention to the damage to civilians that is caused by U.S. aggression in the world.
Mustafa's mother now prays for a better future for her son. She also prays for her family back in Iraq. She hasn't heard from them in weeks and wonders if they're dead or alive.
When they bombing the communication, I can't hear anything about them. Till now, I'm very, very about them.
Well, doctors are arranging for surgery to remove the shrapnel from Mustafa's body, but doctors say the hardest part will be trauma counseling to help him deal with everything he's been through. Reporting live from the newsroom, I'm Carlos Granda, ABC 7 Eyewitness News. David, back to you.
Carlos, thank you. We're expecting